Hi everyone, Mike again with MEG Motors. Today we're going to be working on this Echo PB580T backpack blower. These are commercial duty backpack blowers. They're very, very powerful and very reliable for the most part. So we don't really know what's wrong with this one. We know it doesn't run, and we're going to look at a few things and see if we can figure out why it's not running and see what we have to do to make it run again. So let me reset the camera. We're going to do an up close look at this one and see if we can see anything obviously wrong with it, and then we'll go from there and see what repairs we have to make to get this thing to run again. So looking this one over, it actually looks to be in pretty good shape. It's pretty clean. The spark plug looks suspiciously new, so I'm thinking somebody may have replaced the spark plug already. Carburetor looks clean. There's a primer bulb underneath, and it looks a little discolored, but it is still flexible and pliable and looks to be okay. The fuel lines are intact and feel okay. This one, the yellow one here, is a little bit hard and rigid, but that black one is still very flexible. And so we'll look inside and take a look. See if we can see the pickup line inside. Looking down inside the tank, I don't see the pickup line. I'm gonna pop the cap out of the tank right here, and we're gonna take a look and make sure that the lines are intact. So I'm gonna have to reset the camera for that. Alright, so we're going to pop this rubber stopper up out of the gas tank and take a look at the fuel lines, make sure they're still intact. Alright, look at that. So yeah, one of these lines should be a long line that drapes down inside the tank and typically has a weighted fuel filter on it to pull fuel up out of the tank. So obviously with all the lines cut off like this, even if the tank was nearly full of fuel, there's no way for the engine to pull fuel out of the tank. So that's definitely a problem for sure. So we're gonna take a look at these fuel lines a little closer and see which one we need to replace. This vent line only needs to be short like this, and the line from the primer that pumps fuel back into the tank only needs to be short. So only one of these needs to be longer. We'll figure out which one needs to be longer. We'll put a new fuel line on there, and we'll see if maybe that's the only thing wrong with this one. So give me a minute to pull some supplies together, and we'll see which line we need to replace. So it looks like this black line is the line that should have the weighted pickup on it. We're going to go ahead and replace both lines because this yellow line has gotten a little bit hard, and this line obviously needs to be replaced to be extended down into the tank. And both of these lines connect on the left side of this carburetor, which is up against the housing here. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull the carburetor off of this one to make it a little easier to get to where the lines connect and get them connected to the carburetor and pulled into the tank. There we go. So there's our carburetor, our two lines. Yeah, so, oh yeah, this one, oh, it's got a big fitting up there. I'm gonna pull them, see if I can pull them off of the carburetor. Oh, they seem to be stuck on there really hard. Sometimes when they're stuck really hard like that, the easiest way to get them off is just split them long ways and open them up. do the same thing with this one. There we go. All right, so there's our two fittings. So I'm gonna grab some fuel lines and we'll see if we can pull some new lines in and make this one work again. All right, so I pulled the two old fuel lines out of this stopper. The stopper feels okay. It's a little bit stiff, but not too bad. And I've got some replacement fuel line. So the fuel line on these small engine devices comes basically in 4 different sizes. And you can buy the fuel line on Amazon or eBay. Search for something like trimmer fuel line or blower fuel line, and it'll come up with an assortment. You can typically buy all 4 sizes. They'll sell you typically 2-foot lengths of all 4 sizes for just a few dollars, $10 or so. And that's enough to fix at least one device. If you do a bunch of them like I do, I buy it in bulk, and it's a little bit cheaper that way. But so I picked a size of fuel line that has the right outside diameter to fit snugly in the stopper, and has the right inside diameter to fit snugly on the fittings of the carburetor. And so this is the right size for this device. So we're gonna just pull out a little bit of line here, and we're gonna run one line through here. This will be our return line, and so it only needs to go in a short distance, and it will go up to the carburetor. So I'm just going to estimate how long we need it. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to put a second line in here, which is going to be our fuel pickup line. And I looked inside the tank, and the broken off fuel line and the weighted pickup is missing from inside the tank. So I'm not sure what happened here, but somebody's cleaned the missing pieces out of the tank. So I had some extra pickups, and so we're just going to put one on here. Get the fuel line on there. And then we're going to work this down into the tank. See if we can get that pickup to go down to the far side of the tank. Then we're just going to work this stopper back into the tank. Just like that. So I can see inside. That looks like plenty of fuel line. So this is the return line. So when our carburetor, there's our throttle. When our carburetor's on, this will be the return line. So this one should go right here. I'm gonna measure that and cut that off. That one should go right there. And then the pickup line will go up on this other fitting up here. I'm going to estimate and cut that one off. And we'll connect that one as well. I'm going to get a little bit of lube for that one. I'm using a little bit of lubricant to help get this fuel line on that fitting because it's fairly large. So the lubricant I use is a lubricant for mounting tires. It's bead lube for mounting tires. There we go. There, that went right on now. All right, so with those on, we're going to put our carburetor back on. All right, so the next step, we're going to put some fuel in the tank and prime the carburetor. Make sure that it pulls fuel up through the lines, and then we'll give it a try and see if we can get it to start. All right, so with our fuel lines installed, we're going to pump the primer a few times. I put some fuel in the tank. We're going to pump the primer bulb and see if we see fuel moving through the fuel lines like we should. I just saw fuel coming up from out of the tank, and we should see it go back down the return. There it goes back down the return line. All right, so our fuel lines are working, our primer's working. We're gonna reset the camera a little bit, and we'll see if we can get this one to start and see if it's running okay. All right, so we're gonna see if we can get this one to start. It's really cold here today, so that may impact the way this goes, but we're gonna go full choke. Gonna prime it a few more times. Make sure our switch is turned on. And let's see what happens. I have my carburetor adjust tool in case we need it. So that actually sounds pretty good. Starts easily and runs good. The throttle cable is a little bit sticky, so it doesn't want to come back to idle. I'll talk to the owner of this one. This one doesn't belong to me. I'll talk to the owner and see if he wants to replace the throttle cable, but other than that, I think the problem was just the broken fuel line, and now this one's running good. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and check my playlist for more videos about small engine repair, and we'll see you on the next one.